Today we're starting a new sermon series called Transformers. Now I have an idea that all of you know what Transformers are, correct? You've played with them all of your life, I'm sure. This little car can transform into something much larger and more powerful if it was going to be going into a battle of some sort, but right now it just looks like a car. And the transformation that would take place, something different. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is changing our lives in such a way that we become a new person. What does that look like? Well, a lot of folks in this world talk about being a good person. And the good person is somebody that is within our society, somebody everybody likes. But the problem is with good people, they cannot enter into heaven. Because being a good person is all about helping others out in this world, or being a philanthropist and giving money to folks in need, or stopping and helping somebody that is broken down on the side of the road. But all of those actions will not get us into heaven, because we are still just a good person. Something has to happen so that we can be transformed from a good person into a child of God. Good people are not specifically or necessarily children of God, but every child of God is a good person. Let me say that again. Not every good person is a child of God, but every child of God is a good person. So, what do we need to look for? How do we understand this transformation that takes place when a heart is transplanted into us? Well, the first thing that we have to do is to find what doesn't work. What is it that does not make us a child of God? That's very important because good deeds, attending church, tithing, serving on a committee, does not get us into heaven. Those things do not make us children of God. The greatest commandment says to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And so if we are to become a child of God, we must be transformed from a good person into a child of God. And all of the good works that we do are not going to make a difference in that. David knew that. David knew that his heart was not right with God. Even though he had done so many great and wonderful things on behalf of God, both before he was king and while he was king. And then there was Bathsheba. And David realized that his heart was not as it should be. That his heart could still be swayed away from God and towards the things of the earth. David understood that the heart that beat within him was still self-centered. He found out that the old heart within him did not work to make him one with Christ, one with God. And so what did he do? Well, he prayed. As the Holy Spirit showed him that heart that was not going to work, he began to ask God to place within him a clean heart. To take that old, bumpy, stony heart out of him and replace it with a heart that could love him. You see, it's not the works that we do that go wrong from time to time, although they do, but it's the heart that does not work properly. And so David asked, Lord, give me a new heart. Well, when we understand that it's the heart that needs to change, the next thing we have to do is to find a good mechanic that's going to be able to put that heart within us. You know, when you go to a new place, you're always looking for new folks, new barbers, new haircutters, new dentists, new doctors. One of the most important things that you really get a little bit uptight over, at least I do, is where's a good mechanic? Because not all mechanics are good. Not all mechanics know exactly what to do to make my automobile wear in tune with what it should be doing. And so I want to find the right mechanic. And when we're talking about putting a new heart within us, we want to find the right mechanic that can do it. But people in this world go towards Hollywood, expecting that Hollywood will help them get a new heart or be able to love more. American society teaches us to do good things, and yet that does not give us a new heart. Millions upon millions, and I think maybe even in the billions of dollars now, are spent on psychiatrists and psychologists to tell us what it is that we need to do. But even in their expertise, they are not able to put within us the new heart that we need desperately. And then there's magazines. You can see them on the racks as you go out a grocery store. There are other religions that say that they know the way, and yet none of those are able to give us the heart that we need. A year ago, maybe two now, I lose track, one of my idols in this life took a big tumble. Tiger Woods was one of those people that I think most Americans were really rooting for. Somebody that would bring thousands of people to a golf course so that they could see Tiger when he hit his ball. But when his marriage problems started, things began to get a little bit murky. I was still on his side. I was still rooting for him. But I didn't approve of what his behavior was. I was just rooting that God would help him get through this time and learn valuable lessons and then move on with his life. But after the separation, I heard that he had decided that he was going back to his Buddhist roots. And my heart sank within me. Because Buddhism, even though it teaches a lot of good things, mainly meditation and how to meditate right, does not show us how to receive a new heart. As we meditate, we may be able to get over a broken heart, but religion cannot fix the heart. It only hides the problems that are in it. When our body is ill, we go to a specialist, don't we? The older I get, the more I read about things that I didn't used to read about years ago. You know, like hardening of the arteries, plaque, all of those things that were just words back in those days. Back in the 60s, Dr. DeBakey started actually transplanting physical hearts. And he was on television, and they followed a number of the first transplant recipients. And it was an exciting adventure in extending life.